Happy Sunday, guys. It's your girl Amanda Miller with 105.7 The Phase. Happy Sunday to you guys. As you know, we had moved to IG to Talk Queens on IG. So definitely, guys, don't forget to go ahead and join our page. Again, on IG, it is Talk.Queens with an S. So definitely go ahead and join our page because we have been speaking to moving to IG for a while before we actually transitioned over to IG. We had talked about it on our Facebook page that we would be transitioning over to IG. So still just trying to create that page. So if you have an IG page, definitely go ahead and just send us a request so that we can add you to our conversational dialogue. And so we'll be having the same type of conversations on IG that we have on this same platform here. Also, I'm not sure if you guys have seen it, but we also have on that page, on this page, what we're going to talk about each and every Sunday. So definitely be sure that you are following the topic of conversation. Make sure you inbox us if you want to have a certain type of conversation. Like this week, we're talking about relationships, resentment, regrets, resentment, and relationships. So those three R's are what we're going to be talking about today. So if you haven't already, make sure you downloaded the 105.7 The Phase app. Go to your Play Store on your phone and download the 105.7 The Phase app if you have not done that already. We are 105.7 The Phase. I'm your girl, Amanda Miller Talks. You can also join our 105.7 podcast page. Make sure you do that as well. If you want to always come on when we're having these platforms for the talk shows on Sundays, you can always come on, send us an invite. We'll see it just like now. My co-host is joining. So like that, like if you're wanting to come on live with these conversations, we'll bring you on. Just send the request. It's on your side of the screen and we'll add you on. Hey B. So just giving the introduction, just letting them know that we're here every Sunday at 7. If we don't be here, we'll always add it to the page to tell them that we'll resume the following week. Just letting them know that we are transitioning to IG. We already have it up and running, but just trying to make sure that we come back to our original platform to talk a little bit about transitioning over and take a little more time before we actually go back to our IG page, just reminding them of the 105.7 The Phase app to go ahead and just download it and definitely be sure to tell a friend that we are here. Anything you want to add?
So what I heard was you paid the bills real quick. You paid all the bills.
Absolutely. Yes,
Download the 105.7 The Phase app.
Thank you for joining.
We're going to keep saying that. We're going to keep saying that.
Yes.
Download the app. It's on your Google Play Store or your what is it?
That's right.
Apple?
That's right.
App Store. There it is. And I got it. And I got an iPhone. I should know that. But yes, please download the app. Please follow all of our pages.
That's right.
You have our Talk Queens page that has my and Amanda's personal Instagram tag to it. So we have our Talk Queens page on IG. So please come and talk to us there. Also the app, also the Facebook, also all the things.
That's
so
right.
You can always be updated on things that we are doing and our sisters and brothers are doing by getting on the 105.
That's right.
Podcast page. Because it's not just us, y'all.
That's
Y'all be
right.
talking about our conversations.
Definitely want you to be in on these sports and
the PNC Sports. So, guys, come follow us. Follow our 105.7 The Faith IG page, like she stated, to keep up with our sisters and brothers on the 105.7 The Faith page, but also our 105.7 podcast page, as we mentioned, to keep in the loop of the podcast. Go to our actual internet page, and meet the team. Just meet the team, and then you can follow those pages there. Just kind of see all what we got going on. Cause man, I'm telling you, it ain't just us. It's just a team. We are a team.
And when one go up, we all go up. So when we all go up,
right.
and y'all be like, "Oh, it's because you weren't following."
So yes, definitely tell a friend to tell a friend, and tag this that we are live in the building right now. So today, what we are going to talk about is those 3 R's I mentioned: regret, resentment, and relationships. So I think it's an amazing, amazing topic. I think we all have had, whether past, current states, definitely regrets and resentment in relationships one way or another. So definitely want to dialogue and talk about that just a little. Also, we do ask that you engage in the conversation. Don't just sit and listen. We are an interactive podcast. We like to see your comments flowing and rolling. So definitely, yes.
Remember to engage respectfully. Don't come in here being disrespectful.
Right.
Because we all grown. And what another grown person say to you?
That's right. Because
we have no control.
Say whatever we want to say, like you stated, respectfully, and we can agree to disagree. So definitely, let's get it rolling and started. So, B, I pitch it to you as far as today for the start off.
So, a little behind the scenes for y'all. I thought about
and I thought it was
this topic because, and she thought it was great, because mainly it's something that I'm going through. It's something that I'm personally walking through. My family knows I don't let people in in real time. They normally find out about stuff long after I've processed it. So normally they don't know what I'm going through in real time. And that's not to say I don't trust my family. That's to say I know my family and they're very protective. And if I say the wrong thing about the wrong person, they're going to be like, do I need to drive down? No, you don't. Calm down. So they'll pull up on their little cousin real quick. So and that's mainly the reason why I don't tell them about it in real time. But also to kind of give myself levity to unpack all my feelings and stuff. But this is something that I'm actually going through right now. And I will say, when I was younger, I had this thought process in life, right? Because when we're young and we're like in our teens and like late and early 20s, we think that we got like figured out. Me and my best friend were talking about that. We think sometime in like early mid 20s, we think we got life figured out. We have no clue what the hell is happening. But sometime in that point of my life, I said, well, I don't want to regret anything, right? And it took getting older, and it took going through a lot of emotions and going through trying not to regret something or someone for me to realize that, one, that's not a realistic goal, because regret is an emotion that we all feel. It's in that subcategory of sadness and anger, right? And sometimes when you regret something, it's because you loved it so dearly. We always say that love and hate is two sides of the same coin, and it is. It can flip on a dime. But regret is in that flippage, right? So, a little insight. I had a relationship with all of my children at the same baby. But we had been in a relationship. So somebody be like, you got one baby, y'all. This one. We could not let go for a minute. But that relationship has come to its end after 6 years, and it has been a painful and low-key embarrassing, because like, you know how you find out stuff after the fact. I'm finding out he was talking to girls like months before you broke up, and like you talking to them, but you don't want to
Yeah.
talk to me, and I lay in the bed with you, homie. So it's like it's stuff like that. It's pain like that, and then I'm also pregnant, so trying to process the emotions without letting it affect my child and my current children. It's really difficult, and not every day is a good day. And it hit me that, like, homie, you don't regret this relationship because of your children and because of what you learned and because of how you're growing, but you for dang sure resent some of the things that you were going through and some of the things that you have been put through. And I wanted to talk about this topic because I want us to start thinking about when we're going through our anger in relationships, even if it's a relationship that's still together and healthy. We need to start having the difference and delineating the difference between regret and resentment. Resentment is going to make you hard. It's going to make your heart cold. It's going to make you bitter.
Right.
And that's something I personally don't want. So that's something I have to grow through. But regret is you processing and trying to find the light, but only seeing the darkness in what you've done. Once you get to that other side, then you can find the light and you don't regret as much anymore. So like, I'm sure in a couple months or a year or so, I won't regret a lot. But I'm hoping that sooner than later I stop resenting, because that resentment spills over into different parts of our lives. It starts to spill over into our kids, our work, our personal, like our actual personal, what's going on with us. And we don't want that. No relationship, especially if you're trying to work it out, but no relationship should have to hold on to so much resentment, because resentment is so strong. Like, even when you look at the definitions of the two, they're so completely different. So like, the definition of resentment is a feeling of indignant displeasure or persistent ill will that at something regardless of wrong, insult, or injury, right? So resentment is a trigger. It's a reaction to being hurt. You resent that person for what you did. And as long as we have all these cuts and bruises that we don't take the time to heal, we're going to always have that resentment somewhere. Like, I can say in our relationship, like, looking back, of course, hindsight 2020, looking back, there are things that he had done in the beginning of the relationship that I was still hurting and holding on to and trying to heal from, and not fully healing myself from today, after 6 years ago. So it's like continuously open wounds that resentment breathes on. And in relationships, we have to be adult enough to take the time to say, hey, I need to stop this. We need to heal this. Either we need to heal it or we need to go, and I'll heal it by myself. Because the longer that we sit in that resentment, the heavier and the more hurtful and the more toxic it is for everybody involved. I've talked enough. I'm sorry to you to see some of your, thought processes, or,
Yeah,
anybody's welcome to come
and
on.
great that you were able to pitch this out there so that it's real-time conversation that we're having in the moment. And when I say real time, not it's current state, but not not right now that it happened yesterday, but it's still real time.
Right.
That's right.
God,
Like
no.
you
Y'all
said,
wouldn't know
the
if it
opportunity to digest it, to go through it, to dissect it, to get your emotions together. And just really just be able to talk about these things. And this is why it's good to be able to talk through these things unapologetically real, because oftentimes we're talking
Right.
about things that, not us, just, talk shows in general about things that are happening in the world. And we talk about those things too, But we also want to talk about things that are real impactful, that we can really talk about because we've walked that walk. And what better to be able to talk about things that you've gone through in order to be able to tell people about your journey, how it impacted you, how you healed, and how you're able to move forward, and then just want to hear from others what they've gone through and how you can also, definitely learn from others when we hear, because when we're going through it, we're thinking one thing, and then somebody else may have done something different, and you're in that aha moment to say, never thought about that. So maybe I can pivot and do something different, right? And so I know exactly what you're going through when you talk about the re- resentment part of it, because I've always said to my husband, I just don't ever want us to get to a point where I'm resenting you. So, right. So I want to talk about these things to get us to a point of where we can at least be okay with one another. Because if we don't address these things and be adult about it, then it's going to be a point of where I just, it irks me even to hear your name. And I don't want that to happen because, like I said, there's kids involved.
Yep. And that's how I knew I was starting to be resentful, because if his name came up, I got mad. If he spoke, I got mad. If he was in the same vicinity as me, I got mad. Like, you elicited a response without me even knowing. Like, it was quite literally like how somebody, like, they check your reflexes when you go to the doctor. It was a reflex. And I was like, yo, I can't be this angry. Like, that's dangerous. Like, that's really dangerous, because I haven't got really, really angry in a very long time. And the fact that as a person, you are not making me because I'm an adult, but your presence is eliciting this response from me without me even wanting it to, is painful. Like, I really had to think about, like, yo, this is insane. Like, you and
that's
my
right.
aunt was
And it's
like,
okay.
your heart
that's
was
right.
broke. And I was like, yeah, it is. It 100% is. And it was a different type of feel. Like, I'm not gonna lie. A lot of the times, like, I've only had a couple of boyfriends in my life. But a lot of times when I've gotten out of relationships, it was kind of like a quicker 3-4 months, I'm fine. Like, I'm okay. I'm able to, if he want to talk and be like, I'm sorry, this is what we did, and I'm good on the conversation. I'll have it with you, but I'm good on it. But this is completely different. And in the time in my life, because we broke up when I was 5 months pregnant, I still got a whole half of pregnancy left. And I still got to make sure that I'm not wilding too much to where it affects my baby. Like, I can't. And if I was talking to my therapist about this, I feel guilty trying to process the feels, because if I'm processing the feels, what's inside of me is feeling it too. So, like, I can't go off and go to an Axe bar and start checking stuff, because I can't lift more than 20 pounds. I can't, like, go and get a bat and just go ham at stuff, because I can't exhibit that much energy, right? So a lot of the things to try to distract me, I can't do. So it's really I've had to actually sit in the emotion of, yo, that hurt. Why did it? And I'm trying to, and even with my therapist, I'm trying to figure out, like, okay, why did it hurt so bad? Why does it hurt so bad? Like, why does it feel like at one point, and this is just being transparent, y'all. At one point, like, I would cry myself to sleep.
It's normal.
Every day. Like, it never failed. And, like, for me, I'm not emotional like that. Like, I don't try to show it as much. So for me to be just sitting in a car in, like, a response, just because I drove past somewhere, or I hear or I see when my music plays on Pandora, I hear a Marvel ad because we used to watch Marvel movies all the time and Marvel shows all the time together. And I hear an ad for a show and I start crying. Like, no type of thought process behind it. Like, did not think about, like, didn't start feeling sad. Like, immediately just like tears. Like, I was like, yo, something's gotta fix it. I gotta fix this because this is not normal for me. And my therapist was like, you have to feel those feels though, because this is a pain you've never had before. So you gotta let that pain be and let that pain live. Because if you want to truly get over it, you have to give it space to breathe. Because it's not like when you're in a relationship and y'all try to sit down and talk about it. Because for one, that was one of the resentments that I held on to. That I would want to work through things and want to build a better communication, but he wouldn't. So there were little problems and little situations that just kept building up more and more and more and more because he doesn't want to talk about it to a babe. So now I'm resentful for the fact that we can't be in a good place. And it's just this tit for tat. So because I'm resentful, I'm angry. Because I'm angry when you do try to talk to me, I'm loud and I'm yelling and I'm aggressive. And you, as a man, that's not something that they need to feel when they're trying to be vulnerable. So now I'm coming at you and you coming at me. And it's this continuous circle that neither one of us really try to fix for real. Because no matter how much you tell me I'm angry, I keep coming at you telling you I'm angry because you don't want to fix it. You don't want to talk and try to fix it because I'm angry.
Yeah.
So we keep
a revolving circle. But I think for you,
and eventually somebody has to cut it.
Yeah, but for you, in the moment, you're pregnant. So that's one emotional thing that we are just, one, we're emotional as women. That's just the bottom line to that. Two, when we're pregnant, it adds on to those emotions. And so three, in adding on to those two, being in a situation where the relationship is not solid during the time frame of you going through the pregnancy adds on to that. And so really in our essence, you have the right to be angry.
And then for me as well, I've lost a child before. Like I've had a miscarriage before. So every time that I'm pregnant, I'm scared the entire pregnancy. Like at a certain point, I stopped being as scared, but until that baby is born, I'm true, like on the inside, I'm nervous. Like I'm scared that something's going to happen the entire time. So fear on top of resentment, on top of not feeling safe, on top of being emotional. And honestly, because the anger wasn't just when my mom was pregnant. Like devil's advocate, I am not the greatest in the least bit. I'm a lot to deal with, but like with everything being this huge amalgamation of things, I just feel like at this point it was something that he didn't want to deal with anymore, that I don't need to try to deal with anymore, because how many times you gonna tell me you don't want to be with me and I'm just stay here?
So tell me, with that being stated, what are some of the, and guys want to hear from you too in regards to relationship resentment and regret. I've seen what Cleveland said, a lot of people are in relationships that they don't even like the person. So one, with that being stated, what are some of the regrets?
Him it was like I feel like at a certain point he stopped.
So what are some of the regrets? And then and what for you? I start with you, B, and then guys, I would love to hear from you. So for you, what are some of the regrets that got you to this point of possible resentment? And what are some of the things that you think possibly could have kept you from getting there?
So one of our first main issues was there was this dude that I used to talk to that was still trying, and I was telling him no, like telling the dude no, but I wasn't letting him know what was going on and letting him know how dude was responding. Like in my mind, since I was just saying no, what does it matter what dude is saying? I'm saying no. The person you're in a relationship with is saying no. But he didn't appreciate that. Come to find out, a couple years later, like in January, matter of fact, the week after my grandma's funeral, he got the a DNA test back that says that he had ended up sleeping with somebody else like a week into our relationship and got her pregnant, and they have a child. And for me, it just that instance brought up more questions, and it just continued to snowball. Because for me, it got really bad starting in December, January range. And I think to avoid a lot of those issues, honesty could have been said from jump. Like, if you cheated on me a week into our relationship, let me know now.
Yeah,
Our lives could have just
right.
and been done. Because had I known about the cheating in the moment, there would be no us right now. Because I would have been like, good. We a week in. I ain't. Nobody know about you. Don't nobody know about me. We ain't gotta worry about it. Dissolve that shit now. But 5 years down the line, almost 6 years down the line, we built something. We have 2 children. We have credit that's intertwined. We're planning a wedding. Like, 5 years down the line, me thinking about leaving you, or me wanting to actually leave you, because now I love you. Like, now I want to take on the responsibility of being your wife, right? Like, I want to be a stepmom if I have to be. I'm open to that. Now I don't want to wake up to somebody else. I don't want to lay in the bed with nobody else. Like, you are who I see now. You are who I love now. So now what would have happened then isn't happening now. So there's a regret in the fact that, well, what would my life have looked like? Especially now, since the breakup has happened, what would my life have looked like? I've turned down personal advancements. I've turned down going back to school. I've turned down different jobs to make sure that you as a man can be the head of the household and grow and get to where you want to be and be strong in what you want to do. And I've made those sacrifices for us and our family. So regret and resentment sits in, dang, bruh. Like, you could have told me.
Do you feel trapped? Do you feel trapped?
Because
like,
the evidence
because
is clear.
of him not sharing, do it make you feel like, okay, so I feel trapped in a sense of, now it's 5 years down the line, I got all of these feelings for you, for us, we have kids, and I heard you say that about being a stepmom, so I'm willing to do these things because now, like, we real now. We're family. Like, so I guess my thing is, what bothers you the most about him not sharing that, and now it comes to light and you're having to deal with that in the moment of all of these things, thinking you was going to get married, thinking that, not thinking, but being pregnant. In the now, do you think that, one, I think it's selfish, been there, done that. I think if you don't tell me things in the moment, I think it's selfish that you don't allow me the opportunity to decide how I want to move forward. Mm-hmm.
And that's what it is. That's the part right there. It's
Absolutely.
You took my decision away from you. Because I've taken somebody back that's cheated before, like, especially if you're actually, and one of them did not stop cheating, but one did. If you're not working to fix it, then I know I need to go. But if you're working to fix it, I have no problem actually working through it with you, right? So you took away my entire ability to say, this is something I choose to be in still. And then you began to treat me badly because of what you were doing on the side. You talking to this chick and talking to that chick and talking to this, and you getting found out on Tinder, and you doing this and you doing that and you doing that, and you come to me acting like I'm unfaithful. When I'm like, shawty, understand, you could be replaced tomorrow. I choose you to be here. I don't need you. I want you. It's a difference. And that's something I've told people for years, that I don't want to need anyone. I want to want you here, and want to work on it and want to be with you. But I don't want to need you. Shit. I need food. I need air. I need God. I don't need you. Shit. And that's it's a partner thing of you took away my choices.
Right.
And then you treated me badly in the process. Like, it's a partner situation of, damn, how you take advantage and treat me like shit. Like, how did those two things partner so well that I didn't even know it? And I had gotten to a point where I was like, well, dang, I messed up his trust. I need to make amends, right? So, like, I had gotten to the point where I was like, okay, if you want to check my phone, you can check my phone. If he's a little upset right now, just try to woosah, breathe, talk through it. Oh, well, if, he doesn't like this, let's try to switch something up anyway. So I began to have that thing, especially in the beginning of our relationship, where I just tried to fix it because I was pregnant then too. And I just want a family, because of what a lot of people, especially my friends, didn't understand was why I was with him. And it was, he made me feel a safety that the only man who has made me feel that safety is my daddy. Like, he made me feel a safety, well, and my cousin and stuff, but he made me feel a safety like y'all make me feel. Like, y'all make me feel like I can be myself whenever, however, and y'all really don't care. Like, you accept it for what it is, right? But especially when I moved to Oklahoma, I had to be perfect all the time because I'm a Black woman in a lot of white spaces, a young Black woman at that, who's a product of a single home. So automatically people just think, oh, I'm just trying to be loose and get pregnant. When, no, I don't even want you touching me like that. So, and then I got to college and had to do the same thing. I still had to be perfect. So when you meet someone in times where you're so exhausted and they make you feel safe and they make you feel seen, and it was that safety and that closeness was something that I didn't want to give up. And something that, for me, is still a death to me, because I don't feel that safety anymore. When I'm around him, I don't feel safe. Like, I've made a point to tell him, like, I don't want you in the living room because I don't trust your choices. You don't care about me and my safety. Because if you cared about me and my safety, you wouldn't be putting me through half of this emotionally, right? So I don't even feel comfortable with you being in the room when I have this baby, because this is the most vulnerable that I'm ever going to be. And I can't trust your judgment because I can't trust you to care about Beatrice, not the baby. And if y'all just got my actual real name, don't use it unless
So
you need me.
let's talk about some of these comments here. So Quavelin says, men, generally speaking, are extremely hesitant to make a choice when it comes to our relationship issues. We sabotage, we deflect, we push women to a point of deciding for us. And with the resentment grows because at the point where we don't want to really be there, we are starting to dislike you, even if there is figments of love there. We are looking outward at what might be rather than inward, which makes the fight that women oftentimes desire to see for the relationship never comes. And I think, so what I think in that space, in that comment that sticks out to me is that when he says that when men try to deflect from those things as opposed to directly just speaking to it, right? So, and then you look outward, right, someone else, instead of inward, to have that truthful conversation, right? So if you know that within your relationship, you are having a point in time where you dislike your mate, and you're not going to like your mate all the time, but if we just really want to have an unapologetically real conversation, and if people think that, I think they're naive, because we go through things in relationships where at this point, it doesn't mean I don't love you right now in the moment. I ain't feeling you. Right. I don't like you. I don't feel you. We going through
That's just,
Yeah,
and that's
absolutely.
just, that's any relationship though. And I feel like people sit here and have this thought process of, I think Disney and media and society has made it be that you work so hard to get to the marriage, and then once
No,
you're married, everything's
that's
perfect.
right. And you
No,
have to
that's when the
fight.
shit starts for real.
Absolutely.
That's when the hell starts. And you have to
Mm-hmm.
choose it. And I told somebody, love is an action. Love is a verb. And if you don't choose to
Mm-hmm.
get up and love somebody every day, because you can not like somebody but love them, very much so. Even even now, I
That's
greatly
right.
care about,
That's right.
if he's okay. I love him. I don't like him right now. Like, no part of me wants to be in any. I have to be in the same space as him right now because of situations, but no part of me like wants to. So like, I don't like you, but because of the children that we
That's right.
share, I'll always have some type of love for you. And when you're in a relationship, you have to choose to love
That's right.
somebody, even when you don't like them, even when they get on your nerves. You got to choose to be like, well, man, I love her ass. So
Yeah.
like,
And so
it
we
be
don't
like
address.
that.
Yeah, we don't address
and
those
that's
things.
okay.
Then that's when it
We don't
spills
address
over
it.
into
As I
that
said, we don't
resentment.
address
And
it.
I think we always seem to,
Mm-hmm.
on these conversations, come back to communication. And if we don't talk about the things that drives me to not like you, or something that you did, or if it's habit, or if it's trending, we continue to do those things, and then we look outward, someone else, as opposed to addressing it in house so we
Mm-hmm.
can figure it out, and we don't get to that point of resentment in the relationship. So Sharisa said, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Devil's advocate, I will say,
Okay.
to some of the comments that I've seen about communication and about empathy in relationships. Devil's advocate, we have to remember that us as African Americans, especially some of our African American men, they're not taught emotional intelligence. They're not. That's something they have to gain over time, because these are the same little African American, little black boys that we're telling, oh, you can't cry. You need to stop crying. It's not that dear. It's not that serious. Stop crying. What, man, you acting like you a female. You need to chill. Oh, well, I mean, hoes will be hoes. You can't sit here and love her for real, dog. Like, these are the same men that we're pumping all of this negative vibrato into, and not truly thinking about what that long term
Effects,
uh
impacts.
what that long term does. Thank you. What that long term effect is. And we have to start thinking, like I said, devil's advocate, we have to start thinking about that. In hindsight 2020, if I don't sit down and talk to you, you also have to want to work on it. But if I don't sit down and talk to you and try to help build that bridge with you, so that if nothing else, you can feel that way with me and your children, then it's not going to work
So
out the way it
Sharisa
should be.
says
It's not.
he had low self-esteem. If you had to take a lower paying job in order for him to consider himself the head. Well, and if that's the case, yeah, because money doesn't make you the head. It's the way that you operate your home. It's the way that you lead, with the respect of respecting your wife, your kids, the way you take care of the home and ensure everything is taken care of, no matter what amount of money is flowing in the house. We need to be able, right, as a man, to make this um, make these loaves of bread and this fish feed everybody. You know.
I'm about to say, because I know a man whose wife makes far more than him, but she still diverts to his decisions. Like, she still, when it comes to the inside of their household, she's like, oh no.
So what did Kim say? I resent anyone who wastes my time. The first thing I ask a person when I get into a relationship is, am I wasting my time? And I feel like my time is being wasted, deuces. And I think that's fair, because if we don't ask,
we missed you
yes,
over
we're
on
waiting
Instagram,
on you on IG,
girl.
Kim girl. You and Quavo and Bo. So just get on there, join the page. But I will tell you, the one thing is, I was talking, and I don't know if Keisha, if you're still on here, we got to be over. And Keisha and I was talking the other day, and to Kim's point about the first thing I asked. So this is important to her. That's the question that she's asking, to figure out, am I wasting my time? Mm-hmm. And we got to be okay with having adult conversations when we start, when we meet someone, when we get to the point of in the relationship where we need to ask some clarifying questions so you can define where you are. Like we always talk about, there's levels. So even in the beginning, there's a conversation to have. If we start in a full-fledged relationship, there's a conversation to have. And as we travel along this road and this journey in this relationship, when we have bumps in the road, there's a conversation to have. So if we're communicating instead of sitting back, not having those conversations because we feel like it'll fix itself. Well, we're just putting a band-aid on the sore and not healing, but it hasn't healed. And so I feel like going back to your conversation of where you were, where you are in the moment with your situation, and I've been there. And in the moment, I was like, okay, we kept putting band-aids on it because you don't like to communicate. And in the moment, I'm feeling like, okay, so I just don't want to bring it up because I'm tired and I'm exhausted and I don't want to deal with it. And, and you're not going to have a mature conversation so it can be fixed. So then we scave over all of these things. And then the end, when it blows up, it's a real bomb that blows up. So now, whether him not liking me or me not wanting to deal with him or he's not wanting to deal with me, these are some things that really possibly could have been fixed had we had some real live conversations to try to fix it. What else we have in there? You got it?
Yeah. So to the next comment right after Kim's is Angel. Hey, Angel.
I'm not sure what that was a response
to. I think that was a response to this relationship, and it is gone. Thank God. Communication and empathy is important in a relationship. Yes. That was from Keisha. It is quite important to try and be empathetic and try to be as communicative as possible when you are in a relationship. Communication is key.
Yes.
Which is what Damon said, which is I agree with your point wholeheartedly. I don't know what Cleveland agreed to, but he agreed to something. And so did Damon. Both agreed to something. I don't know the West, but I'm glad y'all agreed. Kim then go on to say, I make excuses for no man. That's how women get put in certain situations and feeling sorry for men and making assumptions about how they were raised. Oh, it's not an assumption. It's 6 years in. I already know how he was raised. I don't have time for all of that. I need the whole loaf, not breadcrumbs. Kim, to your point, I will say I normally do agree with you, but in some situations, when you are getting to know someone, the conversations of how you were raised, what you expect in a relationship to someone that you might marry, do you want to be married? These my therapist calls them checkpoints or like speed checkpoints, like you know how you go through like speed barriers, the speed checks when you on the highway, kind of like those. These are conversations, like we said, that you have to have. So at a certain point, with giving empathy and giving grace, you have to give some grace. Like you can't, I ain't saying make an excuse for the nigga, no. Or the man, no. But I am saying there is some grace that has to be given. Now, if that grace is taken advantage of, drop that nigga like a bad habit.
That's right, because we all have had some. I want to kind of piggyback off of what you stated, because we all have some things that, as African Americans, unfortunately, and I'm not saying other races haven't, but I'm just speaking for to us, right? As African Americans, we all have something, a skeletons in our closet of how we were reared and raised. Some more impactful than others, and so.
Yeah.
Some that we may take into relationships, others we may not, based on how we actually overcome them. But when we have real conversations with those people that we're going to be in a relationship with, if we know those things are some of the impacts, we need to tell openly what those things are. In order to, and I'm not saying anybody, I said the person that we're going to be in a relationship with, we need to share those things so that they can be aware, one, how to help us through it and support us through it. Two, just so when they see those things, they're not feeling like it's just coming out of the blue, right? That they know, okay, here's one of those
Right.
situations. Here's how I help her through this, as opposed to not not telling that person, and then that makes them make a judgment against you because they have no idea of what you're bringing into that relationship, of what impacted you from your rearing. So again, it goes back to that communication of having
Mm-hmm.
real conversations with people that you're going to be in those relationships with, so that you can be able to address it. Let's see, somebody's trying to come on with us, so I think Mia, let's see if we can bring her on. It's trying to come on with us. So it's just,
Yes.
yes, we
Come
love
on,
when
y'all.
people
We
come
love when
on
people
with
come and
us.
talk to us.
And so while we're doing that and seeing if it's going to bring us on, let's let's see if we have some other comments. So I resent anyone who wastes my time. The first thing, okay, was that? Oh, Sharice said she likes Cam's. Um, his actions will show you more than responses. I agree to that. Um, you waste you waste
Mm-hmm.
my time and you are forever nothing to me. Well, I mean, I think if you guys have had a conversation
That's
about
real.
what that time looks
That's
like,
real.
we just don't want to play games. And I think like these are the type of things that get you there with the resentment. Like B said, if you're not real with what is going on, if you don't like me anymore, where you decide you want to step out and do something else, tell me. Give me that choice. If we separate, and in the midst of our separation, if you link up with somebody and have a baby and you step back into this relationship, tell me. Don't leave me in the blind, because I can't tell you what to do while we're separated. If you decide that you want to be out there loosely, that's on you. But if you decide to pivot and want to work us out, tell me, so I'm not in the blind and I have the right to decide
Right.
how I want to move forward with you. Don't take that choice from me. Those are the things that I think has captivated me for the relationship that I was in, because again, it's the selfishness of not being truthful. It's the selfishness of taking the choice away from me. It's the selfishness of I could have been doing some other things, or you don't really know if I would have been okay. Like you said about being the stepmom, you don't know if I would have been okay with that. But because if you take choices away from either party in the relationship, male or female, both, because truth lies on both parties, I think that's when a person decides, that's when
Yes.
that resentment keeps coming in. And you're like, dude, I don't even like you. And then if I don't like you at some point, mm, your presence may just get me to a point where I don't even love you anymore, and I would care for you because we have some deep rooted connections, but I never want it to be at a point where I don't care enough for you that if I see you on the streets, I don't even want to speak to you, you know?
Right. Right. And I feel like I need to make this caveat in this little asterisk, ampersand, whatever. These are conversations we're having about when, especially how to remedy a lot of these. These are when both people want to effectively work at it, right? So we can't expect, and we should not expect, that if you're in a relationship with someone, there are expectations that you should have, and you should have that conversation. But you then can't, how do I say this the right way? If the person does not want to work with you, then it's time that those are the things that you need to see more than anything. And I know for me, like I said, hindsight 2020, those are the things that I should have been paying more attention to. I shouldn't have to try to
That's
force
right.
you to fight for our
That's right.
relationship. That's pointless. Because if you don't want to actually fight for it,
Right.
why am I still trying to make you do it? You are a grown ass
Right.
man. I cannot make you do shit you don't want to do. And the fact that I'm sitting here still trying to do it that as people, I'm not even gonna say as women, as people, that's when we have to let go. And I've always made this analogy: if someone is
That's
willing to
right.
get in the ring
That's
and box
right.
with me,
Can't fight by
I'm
yourself.
willing to go toe to toe with you, bro. I'm willing to fight with you. But if
Yeah,
I
can't
am
fight by
in that
yourself.
ring by myself, I can go shadow box. I can go shadow box
Right.
and train for
Right.
somebody else alone. Like I can go be Floyd Mayweather at practice by myself. I don't need it. Floyd Mayweather ain't showing up to nobody in Madison Square Garden if they ain't there. Like no, I'm not about to get. If you're in the ring by yourself, it's
Right.
time to say it. It's time to
So
step out
I
of the
just
ring.
said
From
100.
then on,
Thank you for whatever that was in response to. Yes, your past can affect your future. Absolutely, Damon. I agree to that. We have to just address those things live. Brad says communication and listen to one another is key in order to learn one another. Absolutely. That's baggage, just like Erica Badu said about being a bag lady, carrying all around. And but Kim, we do that a
Kim,
lot. I agree.
it's only baggage. It's only baggage if you expect the person in the new relationship to fix it for you. That's when it's baggage. That's when it's baggage, like Erica Badu was talking about. Because there's nothing wrong with having scrapes and bruises and bumps and all these things. There's nothing wrong with being scarred up. There is a wrongness when you put on the next person that you are with the responsibility of fixing what you should have fixed before you got in that relationship, that new relationship. You cannot walk into something new with resentment from somebody else. That's not fair to the person that you got in here who hasn't done anything to you yet. They haven't shown you that they can't be trusted. For what you know, this person done shown you that he could be the husband that God made for you. But you sitting up here so blind, so hurt, so bitter because you have not taken care of that resentment yourself and been the big adult and put on your adult panties or drawers and fixed it. So you bringing problems to them that they didn't cause. So now you're walking into something possibly creating resentment. So you're making the cycle start over in something brand new. You got to take the time in that in between to deal with and properly unpack the baggage. Ain't nobody trying to check no 150-pound bag into Hartfield Jackson. Like you take that as a carry-on, so you're able to tell them, like you said, hey, this is a trigger for me. Like for me, I don't like somebody using the word stupid when you direct it to me. I was bullied a lot. People call me stupid a lot. I don't like when you say, "Oh, that was stupid." B, that sounds stupid. Oh, you stupid. Don't say that. It's a trigger for me. Don't do that. Now if you happen to do it, am I going? Oh my God, you call me stupid? No. But if you continue to make a habit of it, I'm going to start to feel away because I'm like, yo, I told you this is a pain
I
point for
think
you.
when we
Keep
talk
feeling.
about the bag lady and
You're not
carrying
even
around
paying
all this
attention.
stuff, and you hit it definitely on the head, we have to, women and men, check at the door what we've gone through and heal from those things if we need to, because everything not required a healing, but you have to ensure that you have, if it needs to be, in order to not carry those things over into the next relationship. But I think as women, we carry so much more baggage than relationships. We carry a lot on our shoulders of the world of expectations from the world, whether that's our kids, whether that's our jobs, whether that if we're going through something on the job, whether our kids are going through some adolescent moment and we're trying to help them peel back the layers to kind of critique that. If we're just going through life,
Even if our
absolutely,
parents are
weigh
going
and
through
put
stuff, we
all
feel
of
the
this
need.
stuff on our shoulder. If you got siblings and they're going through things, we take on a lot, but we have to have a mate that's going to help us through those things to subside it and make it easier for us. And if we don't, now I don't know about nobody else, I can only speak for me. If I'm going through a lot and I have a lot on my plate and I'm going through things that I'm sharing with you, but you can't even find the means to help me through it, and it's constant because you don't know how, that's okay, but then you have to figure out how. And that's why we have the people that should, let me say that, because some people don't have people in their life that they can go to, and that's sad, but they don't. That go to and be able to say, hey, my wife is going through this or that, or either how can I help her through this, or how can I support her? And sometimes it's just a matter of just listening through and saying, baby, I'm your ears and I'm here for you to listen so you can get that off your chest. Maybe you do nothing, but maybe you're just a listener. And then if you don't have even the time to listen, then I'm looking at you sideways like, dude, I'm going through something. Do you not recognize that? Do you not hear me? Do you not feel me?
Yep.
Do you
Do
what?
you not,
Then I
do
look
you
at
not
do
care?
you even care?
That
That's right.
becomes a thought process too. And now that do you care has triggered some type
That's
of
right.
that could feed into regret. That could feed not regret. That could feed into resentment. Because every time I want to tell you something, you give it a shrug. You give it a, oh, okay. Like, bro, do you give a shit? Like, do you really care about what's going on with me? And that starts to breed some
Yeah,
type
so
of
it says, girl,
resentment as
Comfort said,
well.
girl, you dropping some juice tonight in Mela Talks.
That
Yes,
can.
baby, we have some topic discussions on here.
Good.
Y'all better tell a friend, baby.
Be trying. We be
Tanisha,
trying,
it's
y'all. We be trying.
regretment, resentment, and relationships. You have to be real with yourself to be real to others. Absolutely, I like that, Damon. If you're still here, absolutely. If you're not real with yourself to be able to really understand you cannot be able to do that for someone
How you
else.
gonna
That's
teach
why I
somebody else?
think that uncertainty is what keeps them quiet.
Yeah.
The uncertainty, Quavelin, if you're still here, the uncertainty of wanting to be in the relationship. I can't tell something I'm unsure of my
So the
damn self.
uncertainty of how to deal
Okay,
with
so
the
maybe that
situation.
is where Damon is saying that about um knowing yourself. So like
Knowing
Quavelin said,
yourself.
I can't tell something I'm unsure of my damn self. All right, understood. Thank you for joining.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's real
real
though.
talk.
That is a part of what we
I'll
just
let you
said.
pick up with Kim. Do you see Kim?
Yes, she said that's when you need to self-reflect and be alone until you
That's
get into another relationship. And that's what I was saying. That in between time is when you need to take the time to reflect. You need to take that time. If you need to heal. If you need to, get up, if you need to glow up. If you need to get your back, get that shit. Do what you got to do for you in that in between time for you to be better and you to be at your best. And use good discernment, y'all. We gotta have better discernment. That's for me too. And then Quavelin ended it by, truth is so fucking inconvenient.
It is, but it's so unfortunately that's the best way. So it keeps people from being hurt, feeling used, feeling abused, and then it's where I hate you. I can't stand you, and nobody wants to have wasted 5 years, 10 years in a relationship. Myself, right, that's true. And then now. Yeah, because we can't get it back. So if we're adult about things and we're true about things, then it helps us overcome all of this bitterness that people have towards each other in relationships because we're not honest about what we're going through. If you want to be somewhere else, say that. It'll hurt, it'll sting, but like B said about the stupid, nobody's gonna fall out and die. It's my trigger moment. Yes, just like if you tell me you want to be with somebody else, if do you think I'll be hurt? Of course, because if I love you, if I want to be with you, if we're a family, yes, but nobody is going to die because at least after I peel back the layers and get over the hurt, I can at least give you the credit of being honest. But when you don't be honest, that's when there's a lot of other things that builds up behind me and you not being able to either walk in the same room together.
And on that note, I think that we need to, because we be
so
trying to end on time.
Let's look at Quavelin's question,
and
then
on our
guys,
7 to 8.
I want to tell you that we're here every Sunday from 7 to 8.
Hold on real quick.
If you haven't joined our IG page, we are on IG at talk.queens. Please join the IG page because we will be transitioning there. And at some point, we're going to be going to iHeartRadio. So please, please, please go ahead and start your following. Go ahead and tell your friends to tell your friends to join our 105.7 podcast page, our PNC sports page, and 105.7 The Phase page on IG. Let's read Quavelin's question before we close out our response.
He said, I will say, though, it took years, but I learned to simply live my truth and be completely honest. And it made all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
And I think that's the perfect place to stop at, because it does. Once you're truthful with yourself and keep that truth to yourself at some of the highest priority, it makes life so much easier to live. It's so much better to live. It's so much funner.
Absolutely. So I would say some of the takeaways: be true to yourself so that you can be true to others. Communicate those things that can be impactful to you and your spouse, or even anybody that you're dealing with, so that you can walk away without resent and regretment. So guys, thank you all for joining 105.7 The Phase, Amanda Miller Talks with my co-host. Thank you guys so much. Have a great Sunday.
Y'all got all my business today.
Have a great rest of your week. Tell a friend to tell a friend. There's some amazing people in the world. If you aren't one, become one. We love you guys. Have a great day. Bye.